You know, looking back, Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane was one of those fights where everyone expected Tom just to overwhelm Gane with early pressure. You know, it was supposed to be an easy day in the office for Tom. And, it didn't end up going like that direction. Gane showed up sharper than people predicted. The tension was there right away. The first momentum shift came when Tom shot that early takedown. Gane stuffed it clean, overhooks, hips, back, quick post, and he slipped out with no trouble. And I was like, oh shit, my jaw dropped during that moment. That alone changed how the fight felt. If Tom couldn't get Gane down early, then we were looking at a striking match, and that's where Gane started finding his comfort. And at a distance, Gane kept landing that jab. Tom's chin was a bit high, the guard wasn't fully dialed in, and Gane's timing was good all night. Step in, jab, slide out. Simple but effective. Tom had his moments, but he was getting touched more than you wanted to see. And then the fight ended with an eye poke. Gane reached forward with one hand open and caught Tom right in the eye, and that was it. It became a no contest. Not that ending that everybody wanted. But still, even before the stoppage, you walked away thinking, yo, Gane might have been a tougher matchup for Tom than people originally assumed. Now look, I get why some people don't want a rematch at this point. A lot of fans think Gane, did the eye poke on purpose. And honestly, when you watch the replay, it kind of looks that way. But here's the thing. The fight was competitive. Both guys had their moments. And we didn't get a real answer to who was going to take over the fight. And that is exactly why, intentionally or not, we still need the rematch. You can't end a fight like that and just move on. It's too important for the division. And there's too much we don't know. Plus, Dana already confirmed it that they're running it back. So whether people love it or hate it, it's happening. And honestly, it's the right call. Now, to me, the rematch is very interesting. For one reason, I want to see if Tom can actually fix the technical flaws that got exposed the first time. Because let's be real, there were a few things that stood out. The biggest one was Tom keeping his chin high every time he blitzes in. That has been a consistent issue in his career that he hasn't fixed. On top of that, he doesn't really use layered defense. You don't really see him slip, parry that you see from polished strikers. He relies on his athletic reaction instead of a stable fundamental defense. And when someone's as clean as Gane is touching you, those gaps start to show. Then you add in the footwork problems. Sometimes Tom backs up in straight lines. He doesn't angle off when he's pressured, and that makes it easier to read. And the takedown entries didn't help either. He shot a naked takedown with no setup, and Gane defended like it was nothing. And you can actually see Tom's confidence kind of dip after that moment because he never really tried to force the wrestling again. Meanwhile, he's just eating way more jabs than a heavyweight contender should, and when the fight turns into a pure striking battle, he still made it competitive, but he was struggling. And that's why this rematch matters. It's not just running back because of the eye poke. It's running back because Tom has real adjustments to make. And we need to see if he can actually level up. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Tom Aspinall got exposed. I don't even like that word at heavyweight. These dudes are 250 to 260 pounds. Nobody at that size is perfect. Heavyweight is basically who makes the first mistake. Half the time. Let's just say how it is. Most guys in the division aren't fast enough, clean enough, or disciplined enough to take advantage of Tom's flaws anyways. Tom would literally run through 90% of the division, but Gane is different. Gane is one of those few heavyweights who actually fight like a real technician. Not just a big guy throwing big, meaty hooks. He's calm, he's smooth, he's reading everything, and he's not rushing in like a typical heavyweight. He'll jab you up, he'll pivot out, and make you miss. And that's why I'm not calling Tom exposed. It's just that Gane is the only guy who can actually bring out those weaknesses. Gane is special. He's actually good. Most heavyweights move like they're buffering on dial up, but Gane's moving up like he has fiber internet. And that's the thing, bro. I've been thinking about this rematch, man, and the thing that keeps sticking out to me is Gane's footwork and his evasive movement. That's really the core problem for Tom, because Gane is one of those heavyweights who just don't just stand there and trade like a fridge with arms. He actually moves, he slides back, he circles out, he rolls with shots, and makes the bigger guy look slow. And yeah, he gets tagged here and there. Everyone does. But when do you really see him get hit clean? It's pretty rare. And that's because he's built his whole style around not being there when you swing. And that's exactly why Tom struggled so much with tracking him down in open space. Tom moves fast, don't get me wrong, but it's very linear. Forward, backward, straight lines. And that works on 90% of the heavyweight division because those dudes aren't moving like Gane. But Gane, linear movement gets punished. You can literally see a moment where Tom blitz and Gane just glides out like it was nothing. It wasn't even dramatic. He just wasn't there anymore. The jab is where things get tough for Tom in this rematch. Gane's jabs punch through Tom entries. Tom's come in with his chin all high, like he doesn't care, like we already talked about earlier, and Gane just stabs him with that jab every single time. The timing was perfect, and Tom didn't have an answer for it. It wasn't a one-off thing. That jab was landing over and over. And in the rematch, unless Tom changes his defensive habits, that jab is still going to be a big problem. And that's the thing that impresses me the most in this first fight, is how Gane controls the range. He stays long, he stays patient, he uses his feints to freeze Tom, and he stays just outside of Tom's burst distance. Tom could never get his pocket exchanges that he usually thrives in. Usually Tom just explodes forward, gets in your face, overwhelms you, but Gane didn't even give him that space. He forced Tom to reset consistently. That slowed Tom's momentum down a lot. And I think another big issue is how Gane's move with shots. Most heavyweights get hit like they're posing for a mugshot, stiff, plant, easy to crack, but Gane actually rolls with the punches and reduces damage. Even when Tom touches him, it wasn't the usual touch them and they fall over. That didn't happen because Gane is never stationary, and that means Tom is going to have a harder time putting him down than literally anyone else he's fought. And look, man, this is something not enough people are talking about, but Gane now has the data. He has Tom's timing, he has his entries, he has his blitz pattern, the rhythm he used, the little habits he falls into. That is a huge advantage going into the rematch. Gane wasn't clueless the first time. He actually looked prepared, but now he has a real experience against Tom's speed and reaction. So when I think about this rematch, that's the part that worries me. Gane is going to be even more prepared this time. He's already proven that he can keep the fight at range, touch Tom up with the jab, shut down his takedown early, and avoid big shots. And now, he has all the experience logged into his reign. Tom is still a monster and absolutely capable of winning, but the matchup itself, dude, it's not a layup. There are real stylistic problems here that aren't just magically going to go away. And that's why, for me, this rematch is so compelling. I mean, Tom has the power. He has the explosiveness to end anyone's night. But Gane has that movement and technique to make you work harder than he ever has. It's one of those matchups where both guys bring out the real version of each other and the adjustments each one makes. And that's what's going to decide everything. Now, as much as Gane is going to come in with the rematch even more prepared, Tom's not coming in empty-handed either, you know? He learned a lot from that first fight, and honestly, this is the kind of matchup that forces him to evolve. Tom is smart, he's coachable, and he knows exactly what went wrong. So yeah, Gane does have the data now, but so does Tom. And if Tom makes the right adjustments, this fight can look completely different than the second time around, you know? The first thing Tom absolutely has to bring is he needs to break Gane's preferred range. That's the entire fight right there. Tom cannot let Gane just sit down, sit at long range, bouncy around, picking his shots and resetting whenever he wants. He needs to force Gane towards the fence. And that's where Tom's footwork needs to show improvement. Instead of charging in straight lines like a bull, he needs to learn how to start cutting angles, closing doors, and creating exit traps so Gane doesn't just slide out into an open space again. The next adjustment is fixing his chin high, during those entries. Tom blitzes with his head straight up, and that's exactly why Gane's jab kept snapping him back. That's not a small detail. That changes the entire exchanges. In a rematch, Tom needs to slip on entries, level change, or at least come in behind a high guard. Raw speed isn't enough when the guy you're fighting is timing you perfectly. And speaking of defense, Tom needs actual defense patterns, not just reflexes against most heavyweights. Tom can usually get away reacting seconds because they're slower, but against someone like Gane who's reading and countering, you need layered defense. Slip, parry, block, reset. He has to be able to defend while moving forward, not just backing up. That's how you walk down a mover without walking into a trap. And another big one is controlled pressure. Not reckless pressure. He can't just chase Gane like he's chasing Pavlovich or Blades. Gane will make him miss and reset the whole exchange. Tom has to pressure the way Volkov did in the rematch against Ciryl Gane. Take the center, force the backstep, and never let Gane circle all the way out. Cut him off, not follow him. That's how you build momentum and force Gane into a spot where Tom's power matters. Feinting has to be a bigger part as well. Just small things like that. Shoulder feints, hip twitches, level changes, anything that makes Gane plant his feet for even a half second. Because once Gane plants, that's where Tom can blitz or wrestle. Right now, Tom's trying to blitz an opponent who's never standing still. Feint fixes. Then there's the wrestling setup. Tom can't just shoot naked takedowns again. He needs to punch that leads into a clinch entry, punches that blend into level changes, and combinations that hide the shots. Even if he doesn't get the takedown, the threat alone changes the rhythm of the fight. And honestly, Gane doesn't like thinking about the grappling. That's where Tom can make him uncomfortable. And the last piece, it's the leg kicks. Gane's entries game is built on movements, cut the legs, and the movement slows. Calf kicks can completely change this matchup. Tom doesn't need to spam them. He needs to use them in the way just to make Gane thinking twice about bouncing around freely. It's the same reason guys like Cruz gets kicked a ton, That style invites calf kicks. And if Tom makes half these adjustments, the rematch becomes a very different fight. And that's why the second fight matters so much. It's not about who's better, it's about who evolves faster, in my opinion. And bro, when it comes to who actually wins this fight between Tom and Gane, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I have no idea. This is one of those matchups where I would not put money on either side. Like, yeah, I kind of feel like Gane might edge it out. His skill set is just so clean, and it's a lot to ask for Tom to fix everything from the first fight and then comes back perfectly in a rematch. But at the same time, I'm not counting out Tom either at all. He's absolutely has a real path. That's why this fight is so tricky. It's razor close. And honestly, that's the whole point I've been making. The rematch is a completely different fight. They both learned a ton from the first meeting. They both know each other now. They're both going to come in with adjustments, game plans, and new reads. All of that. And hopefully, we don't get any weird stuff this time. No eye pokes, no awkward moments, none of that. Just a clean fight. If that happens, this rematch is going to be super interesting, man. One of the most generally competitive heavyweights run backs we've had in years. So, those are just my thoughts. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, I'll see you on my next one.